Okay, all right, and okay, if I didn't say that. All right, look, here we go, people. This is my post-market wrap-up on this Friday. It is Friday, and I'm happy about that. October 9th, 2020. People, we have to talk, and I want you to focus on a few things that I cover with you in this video. I want to know, and I will read the comments, how many of you really understand what you are seeing? I want you to think for a moment. You have the media, you have our politicians here parroting the same things for the most part. Again, it's the look here, don't look here scenario, which they pull off time and time again. When you have the mainstream media and our politicians in sync, you know you're being lied to. It's that simple. And I want to cover that because it's really a terrible deception that is occurring here on many, many fronts. But before we get there, let's talk about the market. So nice rally on Wall Street today. Stocks finished higher across the board. Do you realize that the S&P 500 is only 3% away from a new all-time record high? I know you're not surprised if you follow this blog because I've been explaining to you when we had that sell-off in this market, we dropped like 15% with regard to the S&P. I said this market would again hit new all-time record highs. We're 3% away from a new record high while our economy, the middle class, is in free fall. I want you to think about what I'm saying here. We are in an economic collapse. This is a depression. There's no doubt about it. And it's only got one place to go, and that's a lot worse. We'll talk more about that. But the stock market will again hit new all-time record highs in short order. Okay, so let's understand a few things. You know what? Before you even get there, let me cover the other bigger story today. Physical silver took off. Gold took off. The dollar got slammed today. 10-year yield stable, about 0.77. Crude oil is the fly in the ointment here. Okay, once they prop up crude, what's that going to do? The entire energy sector goes up. The financial sector goes up. We're going to hear from the banks this week. Look, no matter what happens, the banks always win. The people always lose. I mean, that should be as obvious to you as obvious can possibly be. That will never change. It's the same thing. Wall Street will never lose. The people always lose. The government right now, our government right now, is in the middle of a terrible, terrible merger, between corporate entities and a new philosophy. Period. The end. It's a new world order. I think you all understand that, okay? And it does not matter whatsoever what thing is sitting behind the Resolute desk. Presidents are nothing. They cheerlead, they get their orders every day. The president gets a briefing. Every day the president is told what to say, when to say it, how to spin it, and that's all they are. There is an underlying force here that is very, I don't even know the right word for it. It's almost like a cancer, okay? And that it's a disease that is pushing the world and America into a very dark place. Should be pretty obvious to you. You know, the government is sucking the life like a vampire out of whatever is left of the middle class in order to foster this two-tier society that is clearly in our face, something I've been warning about for over a decade, literally for over a decade, but it's here now. You understand? I think you get that. So let's talk about, again, let's go back to this market and the charade or the deception that is going on here. We understand has been going on for months. The American people did get a stimulus package several months ago. You know, people got a $1,200 check. Some of you out here, I think most of you probably, if you earned less than a certain amount, you got a $1,200 check. Big whoopee freaking do. Well, I think as we all should be aware, for months now, Congress has not been able to get anything done with regard to a stimulus package for the American people. It's being dragged on and on and on. So I believe most of you possess enough knowledge to realize that this is a game. What's happening here is they're making the American people as desperate as they possibly can. First, so again, they're going to have the American people beg for more stimulus, beg for more debt. You understand? That's really what is happening here as the stock market continues to rise. And the bigger picture is very simple. This is helping, again, the Federal Reserve to finish what they started in 1913, to be the lender and buyer of last resort. And the bigger news is, yes, some type of a stimulus is going to happen that help boost stocks today, okay? There's no deal, but it did help boost the stock market. But I wonder how many of you out realize that there's going to be another one. There has to be another stimulus bigger than this one. This is part of the game. Understand, you have Congress, our president, all of our politicians together working very hard for a stimulus for the people. Again, this is a game. They're stringing the people along. It's a cause and effect. Make the people beg for stimulus, make them beg for more debt, and then in a few months from now, repeat the whole thing yet again to allow the Federal Reserve to fulfill their end game, to be the lender, buyer of last resort, so they can own the world. That's all this is about. There's nothing else. This entire scamdemic was put forth here to allow the central banks to kill the world economy, shut down the money velocity so they can get in here and print and issue more debt, have the people beg for more debt. That's all this is. This whole scamdemic had nothing to do with China. Our president is misleading you on an epic scale. He knows exactly where this virus came from. Did China benefit from the release of this virus like our president wants you to believe? You're not that dumb, I don't think. Of course they did not benefit from it. This was not released by any one country. This is a scam by the central banks collectively, okay? This was a black ops operation to shut down the global economy, to flood the world with as much debt as they possibly can, to finish it. This is it. This is the end game, period, the end. Wealth transfer like we have never seen in the history of the world. It's going on right under your nose as the stock market rises, and that will be the last thing here, which the debt market is going to lead it into the biggest free fall you have ever seen or witnessed in the history of your life or anyone's life ever. And that's going to be it. The end, period, over. A new system, a new paradigm, a new dollar, a new everything. And unfortunately, pandemonium in the streets around the world. I think you get it. This is the bigger picture. So when you hear, again, they're working on a deal, negotiation, bullshit. Okay, this is all by design. All of it. Make the American people beg. Give them more debt. Follow it up in a few months with another stimulus package. More debt. Another solution. That's all this is. Okay, that's what we are witnessing here. It's absolutely out of control. And understanding that, you should know that, again, you haven't seen anything yet with regard to the economic meltdown that we are in, the issuance of debt. Look, debts and deficits are exploding. absolutely exploding with no end in sight. None, and I mean zero, because they can't. They have to find more reasons to have the people beg for more stimulus, have the people beg for more debt. I mean, does it make sense to you that corporate America is stronger than it's ever been? Meanwhile, the middle class is dying. America is in free fall. 60% of small businesses gone, probably more than that by now. Millions, tens of millions of Americans unemployed, while the lies are we're in a V-shaped recovery, while the lies are we creating jobs. Nothing could possibly be further from the truth. So you see the puppets here. Again, all presidents, I'm not just zeroing in on President Trump or Mike Pence, the lies that came out of his mouth the other day. They are puppets. They are told what to say by a clandestine force, okay, that is running this by a shadow government that is controlling this entire thing. If you cannot see that's what's really going on, then you're clearly in the wrong place. You have no idea that you are being played like a grand piano. It's unbelievable. But that is really where we are right now, people. And with regard to this market, you can expect new record highs in short order. With regard to the economy, you can expect it to free fall. Meanwhile, you will continue to hear, especially over the next several weeks, from now up until the election, you are going to hear lies that are clearly fake. How, again, we're adding more jobs. Meanwhile, you're going to hear that every week we get a jobs report, and they're going to tell you how many, like we just lost 840,000 people just applied for new unemployment benefits, but you're going to be told that we're adding jobs. I hope you can see what's going on here. All right? Lies, propaganda, misinformation. It's all being done to mislead you. It's all being done to issue in the Federal Reserve's final solution. Period. That's it. It really started a long time ago. But under these last two presidents, they have been, Barack Obama and President Donald Trump, I don't know if they had their lives threatened or whatever it might be. They have been enslaved by the Federal Reserve, who is now the most powerful organization the world has ever seen by exponents. And there's no stopping it. There is no stopping it at this point. They have the world by a stranglehold. Again, they control our mode of transaction. They are pulling all of the strings, yours too. You transact in their bills, you transact in their currency. You're just as much as a player in this market as I am, okay? The dollar is a tradable currency. If you're using it, well, what makes you any different than Goldman Sachs? What makes you any different than me, a guy who trades these markets? Makes no difference. Just because you don't trade, Greg Mannarino is part of the problem because he's trading these markets. Meanwhile, you're dishing out those bills. Worse yet, you're putting it all on a debt card, also known as a credit card. I mean, you can't make this stuff up if you try, but this is how people's brains have been twisted. We're all playing the game. And it's a very hideous and very dangerous game. I think you understand that. But look, the grand deception is pretty simple here. That we have a president or a president-to-be that has our interest in mind. Nothing could be further from the truth. It's the Federal Reserve, it's the central banks that are running the world. They are running the entire world. They've made puppets of every world leader, presidents, monarchs, dictators, all of them. They're all puppets of the central banks who control the money. You control the cash, you control the world. It's that simple. And we're in the middle of it. We are right in the middle of this hideous merger. And the definition of this, is fascism. The merger of these corporations and this new American government, this new American philosophy, which demands compliance. It will demand that, unfortunately, a large portion of the population be eliminated in the literal sense. And they will. It demands that society falls into a state of disarray, unlike anything that you've even seen before. You think that these riots that you've been seeing around the nation here, you think these are by accident too? This is just the beginning. Nothing is by accident. This is just the beginning of what's going to be out. And I said this from a decade ago. There is going to be pandemonium in the streets outside of your house, and I don't care where you live, what part of the world you live in. I don't care if you live in the most richest neighborhood in America. More than likely, if you live in one of the richest areas, you're going to be inundated. Because where do you think these people are going to go when they got no food, when they got nothing, when this entire system melts down on itself? That's what they're doing. That's what they're bringing us to, a complete, total meltdown of the system, so they can issue in a new one that will benefit them. It's already there. I mean, we hear about it all the time. You know, there's going to be a new digital currency. Believe me, it will not be commodity backed in any way, shape, or form. It's going to benefit the few over the many. The same scenario that we have all witnessed since time immemorial, and we lose. That's really the end game here. And we will be living under some type of a tyrannical regime again. And the elected officials, well, anyway, it's the banks. I'm going to say it one more time. They run it all, everything. All right, look, I'm out of here. People, it's Friday. I want you to ponder these things. I want you to share this video. I want you to get it out there. I will read the comments. That's where we're at. And this guy here loves you. I'm going to leave you off with my favorite 3 things. Are you ready? Love each other. Care about each other. Be charitable. I'll see you Sunday for my Marcus Look Ahead. And it's going to be just as lovely as this. See you later.